Repurposing compatibility. Welcome back to part 3 of our MAME arcade cabinet build. I'm Norm, once again joined by John Duncan. Thanks, John, for joining us again.
Glad to be here.
We're here at Adam's shop, and John, old friend of Adam's. You guys used to work at ILM together.
Many years, yes.
You are the right person to help us with this assembly.
I hope so.
So for today, we want to get to more of the woodworking and really figuring out how the buttons and the joysticks are going to attach to this cabinet. So I've done some work earlier, and I want to show people, this is one of the side panels, and there's holes that we've drilled in, and so this button kind of fits in on top, and on the back, it's countersunk, and we should use a Forstner bit, one of Adam's favorite tools, so that there's enough clearance for this tightening, this nut to tighten and screw. That's great for this type of button, but we can't do the same thing for the joysticks. I have a hole for the joysticks.
Right, they don't have square drill bits that are that size.
No, square drill bits. And they need to be sunk at a certain depth, so we do some fine measurements for that. In addition, we want to put some unique accessories such as the spinner on here, and the spinner needs to be recessed at a certain depth as well.
Couldn't make it easy.
No, and there's not a drill bit that's this big either.
Well, there are, but
That'd be for handheld drill, maybe a little challenging. So let's think about it. We'll talk it through. We're also going to try to put a spinner on the stick, and we're going to repurpose that from this old arcade setup, this joystick setup, disassemble that, and see if we can get that to fit.
Cool.
All right, let's get to assembly.
We can do it. So, looks like just about 5/8.
So that's 5/8. On the bottom, you're going to want to cut out 3/4 minus 5/8. And I think that the easiest way is to just slice off. Well,
that's going to change the front of your board.
Yeah, so you need basically an eighth, a box cut out, an eighth of an inch.
Well, probably the easiest way to do that is just with a router.
Okay.
What we can do is we can set up a guide so that the front won't get routed, and then we just pocket out this whole area an eighth of an inch.
If we can put this under here,
okay,
kind of match this, and say like enough clearance on this side.
So this is our visible edge, so we want to leave some meat there.
Yeah. So.
And you want to get it as far over here as possible. You need a little bit of room for the wiring.
Yes.
So part of me that's almost wondering if it would be better to do the circle first, then we can just drop it in and trace it.
All right.
There we go.
And then this will sit over here. There's a little bit of gap in between because it's not sitting directly on it.
You mean depth-wise?
Depth-wise.
I'm guessing this probably wants to come up a little bit just for use.
If we could glue it on the bottom or something, that would probably feel fine.
But if you feel your hand, like you see the lip.
Yeah, it kind of catches that lip. I think it needs to come up a little bit.
All right, John. So to get the hole for the trackball, we first did this big hole. There wasn't a circle saw.
Yeah, so we had to do with the jigsaw instead because we didn't have a hole saw big enough.
Yep. So measured that, and this fits. The bezel fits, but there's a little bit of a lip.
Our material is just a little too thick.
Yeah, it's 3/4. So we need to route the bottom so that this sits perfectly on top of the trackball and is flush.
So we're going to use the router to remove about an eighth of an inch of material just in this area because we want the rest of it to look all the same.
Right.
And then this is just a little trick that I came up with is I put little marks on the guide and then some marks on my wood so that I know where the edge of my hole wants to be. So when I go in, I won't be able to see the router. So I can line up with that guide and I know that I've cut to my mark. And then I can come over this way and I go to the other mark because this whole area is taken up with router bit, and that's where I know the other end of the mark is.
Right. And the distance from the router and
the distance from the router is the same as the distance that we want to go without coming out the edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just going to dig out that whole area.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand it to kind of hog out the inside here, and then I'm going to set up a guide just to run it in so that we get a nice straight line here, which I'll probably do that first, and then I'll hog out the middle of it. So I just cut us a nice little hole there.
Let's get some tougher there.
Now, trackball.
That looks fantastic. We'll remove it for painting, but this piece, and then we got to cut into the joystick hole for this piece.
Okay, so that
it's-
one needs a
yeah.
countersink there as well.
Yeah, so let's
Okay.
take that off for now and keep all those pieces together. All right, John, so now for the fun part, the joysticks.
Okay.
And by fun, I mean tricky.
What
The
do you
great
mean,
thing.
joysticks?
I know, exactly. So it's supposed to be lots of fun, lots of joy. We have 3 different kinds of joysticks.
Okay.
For 4 different joystick holes. On this long panel, there's this joystick, which is a very straightforward assembly.
Okay.
We've drilled the hole already, and this needs to be mounted from the top, from the bottom actually, because there needs to be 8 millimeters of clearance from the top of the joysticks for the right amount of give for the movement.
Okay. So I have to pocket that out
yep,
again.
Pocket that out. The joystick for this side panel has this S shape, and so has 2 depths.
Right. So we need to do a stepped hole so that the screws can mount securely.
Yep. And then we have a different type of joystick. We'll have a different amount of clearance as well. Do you want to do the tough one first?
The way I laid out the buttonhole, it's like a.
Oh, that's fun. So we'll still need to force or bit that.
Right.
A little over 10.
Because now we hit this.
Clamped on all tight.
So what happens is this is the plunge lock. So I pull that and then I can plunge down into the wood.
That's real satisfying.
And there's our hole. Okay, and I think, yeah, that's the way it wants to go. Cool. And you have room for your plug.
I actually have 2 for some reason,
Oh, really? Okay.
but I don't know why I would.
That would make it wobble, I think.
That's great movement. Okay, so we're gonna cut to 10. So this is, the whole thing's 18. It's slightly less than, and then just for that one, cut another, cut to like, I'll measure this. Yeah, as long as it's centered in one axis. All right, John, that was a long day. We've made a big mess.
We made a lot of sawdust.
We want to tackle the joystick holes. So on each of these control boards, platforms routed,
Countersinks for all the joysticks.
which for these were the same. And then also some screw holes on top and also sunk in.
Right, so that we can all be screwed together.
Yep. This one was the same, but it was a different stick, so we had to do the measurement. Was, the base plate was a little
A
different.
little different size.
And then
this one, of course.
this one had 2 levels because
And-
of this S shape.
And our big monster trackball.
And the trackball. We still got to put the spinner on. We'll do that next week, but I think a lot of progress, some finishing.
We got the top made.
Yep, we might be able to do the last of the woodworking next week before assembly.
Yes.
All right, so thank you guys for watching, and thank you, John, so much for coming by and helping out.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thank Tested Premium members for bringing this video series. For everyone, check out tested.com/membership to learn more, and we'll be back next week with more of the arcade cabinet build on tested.com. I'm Norm, this is John, see you guys next time.